Hey folks, happy Tuesday. We continue our last week of our March prayer calendar, and the focus this week or this month is the word prayers. And so we have been praying the Lord's Prayer, we've been praying for our friends, we've been praying for our enemies. This week we're praying for God's will and thinking about God's will. So the prompt today has a passage from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. So I invite you to go there. As you're finding that, we'll talk together. Micah is in the Old Testament, one of the minor prophets, and it's at almost the very end of the Old Testament, about 800 or so pages in my Bible, so probably about that in yours, about maybe 30 pages before the New Testament begins, the Gospel of Matthew. So wander around. It's easy to not find it because it's probably only, 5 or 6 pages long. And invite you to turn to Micah chapter 6, verse 8. And the prayer prompt says this: a simple but profound view of God's will. Meditate on Micah chapter 6, verse 8. So did everyone find it? Micah 6, 8. God, this is the prophet speaking. He says so he's talking about God. God has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. A famous scripture. He has told you, O mortal, what is good, what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Lots of music that has been written to that passage through the years, and reflections made upon it. And it to expound a little bit on what I was preaching about this past Sunday, that part of the test of whether I'm discerning my will or God's will, because we're sort of mixed up in there, part of the test is to ask, does this direction that I'm discerning that I should go, does it match the characteristics or the essence or an expression or the values of God? And if it doesn't, then it's certainly my will, not God's will, that I'm following here. Now, just because there can be obviously a mixture that my will at times could lead me to justice and kindness and humility. That's true, that's a good thing. Let's follow our will in that way, because our will is being bent towards that of God. But if whatever I'm discerning that, I should do this, and that it leads to anger or resentment or hatred or anything that is the opposite of justice, kindness, and humility, then in those instances, I know that's not God's will drawing me there. That's my will. And so God's will, what are those markers, the expressions of the values of God? Justice, kindness, humility are 3 that the prophet Micah pointed out here. And so invite you to consider that as you wrestle this week with my will or God's will. Might we do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly. God bless. Have a great day.